Well, what's up, fam, y'all? I wanted to come on here and just kind of talk a little bit. I made a YouTube short this morning where I was talking about accepting your identity, and I had to make me some notes because it was just so much going on, and I just kind of made a quick version of it this morning, but I wanted to dive a little deeper into that conversation. Um, so for those who didn't see the YouTube short, on the video I was talking about how I have always had a different sound. I sometimes sound like I'm churchy. I sometimes sound very old or wise. I sometimes sound proper. I sound like I have an edge, a little bit of ghetto-ness in them. Sometimes I sound country. And throughout life, there were many times where people would say things because I have a tendency to, when I'm talking to people, I go like into this little preachy mode. And I don't do it on purpose, but I would be talking to people and they would be like, come on now, come on, Pastor Hilson, and stuff like that. And it would make me feel bad because people would say things like, I'm trying to preach to them, or they would say things like I'm trying to be the mother of the church or something like that because I'm trying to oversee people or guide people, you know. But again, I couldn't help it. That's just who I am. But for so long, I tried to run away from that because I didn't want to be that way. I wasn't trying to be preachy or sound like a pastor or try and act like I'm someone's mother or something like that. It didn't help the way that I dressed. Y'all don't see this dress, but it is long to the ground. I have always dressed very modest. I've relaxed a little bit as I got a little older. As you can see, my shoulders and stuff is out, and normally that won't even happen. I'm not even gonna lie. Before I start this video, I tried to go find me a jacket. I tried to go find me a jacket, but I've always dressed modest, y'all. I've always worn long dresses, long skirts, like maxi skirts. I've always worn heels. And people made me feel bad about that. Like they were calling me old because here I am, 11 and 12 years old. I'm wearing these super long dresses, ain't showing no skin. I'm covered completely up, things like that. I grew up into doing that. Like I never stopped dressing like that. And people would say that I'm old fashioned. I'm an old lady. And it's like I got into my 30s. It got a little worse when I got into my 30s. So they're like, when are you gonna find your sense of style? Baby, this might be my sense of style. What you mean when? I found it when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. But people tried to make me feel bad about that. And I've always had a servitude spirit. Like I've always loved helping people. I've always fed people, like very humanitarian. I've always gave away things. I always did like school supply drives, giveaways, and pay bills and stuff like that. And I didn't really know at the time because I was like 18 when I started to like give out food and go feed people and stuff like that. I didn't know at that time that I already had a love for nonprofit work. And I ended up growing up and I was learning business. That's what came to me over time. I learned how to do business without going to school. And I learned like the legality side of it and marketing. So I kept like opening businesses and I was trying to help other people open businesses. I've helped many people get their businesses off the ground. Many. But for some reason, I couldn't get my business off the ground. So it was starting to be a little draining. Even though it came to me easy to do, it was draining. And it got to a point where I was like, I have to stop doing that because, yes, even though it's showing results, it was draining to me and I couldn't sustain it. It stressed me out a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And deep down, I knew that I was supposed to be in the marketplace. I've always done work in the community. I've always um gave services and products and things like that. So I knew deep down I was supposed to be in a marketplace. I knew I had a marketplace mantle. Um so knowing that, I couldn't understand why things weren't working like I knew they were supposed to. And throughout the time that I was doing all of that, all of those businesses that I was attempting to do, the Lord had been showing me visions over the course of many years of me just working with women, speaking with women and helping women and stuff like that. And I was like, who doing that? Mm, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I didn't even like talking to people, even though I am a very good communicator. I am a really good communicator. I'm a great teacher. Um, I'm really good at breaking down things that are complex that people can't seem to understand. I'm really good at breaking down complex things to a level that most people can't understand. But even though I can do that, I don't like to do that. I don't like talking to people. Um, I struggled with anxiety for a long period of my life that I've lived so far. And I didn't want to be seen. Like, I knew I wanted a business, but I would always say that I wanted to run it in the background. Like, I wanted somebody else to be the face of my business. But at the same time, no, I don't. I don't want nobody else taking credit for my business. It's my business. But I was too scared, you know? I was very fearful of that. So I would always say that I wanted to be in the background. And I knew that one day things were going to flip around and I was going to have to start to go the route that I knew the Lord was trying to take me, or I was going to settle for a mediocre life, because the Lord had told me one day that I was going to be a living demonstration. He said that I was going to be a living demonstration for him and his good work. And when I first heard that, I got a little scared. I'm not even going to lie to you, because it sounds like a lot. It sounds like the very thing that I was trying to run away from: public, public visibility. Um, I knew that if I was going to be a living demonstration, all eyes were going to be on me. So either that means I give in and I be bold and courageous and I change to mold into the woman that the Lord wants me to be and go the route that He's taken me, or I settle for the life that I was living. But see, the problem is I struggled with that. I struggled with that because the Lord kept bothering my spirit, and I knew deep down that life was so much bigger than what I've experienced. I knew that. And I knew that I'm supposed to take up space in this world. I knew that I wouldn't find that emotional contentment that I was looking for if I settled. I knew that I wouldn't find that unless I attempted to go the route that the Lord was trying to take me. But y'all, I tried to run. I tried to run from Him so bad. I fought. I ain't even gonna lie, I fought, y'all. But when I gave in because I broke. I broke. I got to a breaking point, and I got so mad at my own self, and I'm just like, I give up. Brittany, what are you doing? Y'all, I probably looked crazy, but I really was screaming this outside. Like, what are you doing, Brittany? I'm sick of it. Like, I'm just I was sick of life, even though life was okay. I'm not saying that life was terrible or anything like that. I just knew that it was more out there, and I didn't want life to stay in the way that it is now. Like, so when I gave in, when I broke and I gave in, and I said yes to the Lord, things started to change, y'all. He changed everything. I started to go through this journey where, I had to learn things. I had to unlearn things. I had to grow and mature. I had to get rid of things. I had to grow so I could hold the things that He was about to give me. I had to pray more. I had to study the Word more. And it made me hunger for Him. It made me hunger for Him and His Word and in the will that He had for my life over time. Things started to happen, y'all. Things were changing. And He started to drop names in my spirit. He started to drop strategies and stuff in my spirit. And I just was like, okay, Lord, okay, whatever you are about to do, Lord, use me and let your will be done in my life. Y'all, I really had to slow down enough and realize the woman that the Lord had made me to be. I had to realize the Lord made me this way. The very same person that I'm trying to deny, the very same person that I'm trying to not be, who I'm trying to run away from, that's who He made me. The Lord knew me before He formed me in my mother's womb. He knew my ways. He knew everything I would go through. He knew my sins. He knew what I was going to do wrong. He knew everything. He knew I was going to run. He knew that. But y'all, I had to accept my identity. I had to accept who I was. And I think that once I accepted my identity, that's when everything started to change in my life. It is, because I'm still on it. I will say that this is the most beautiful yet challenging journey so far in my life. But y'all, I'm so far away from who I used to be that I can never look back. I could never go back even if I wanted to. But I don't. But even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I've actually finally released all control. Y'all, I'm literally just getting up in life and just floating, and wherever the Lord takes me, that's what's going on. Whatever decisions the Lord is wanting me to make, that's what I make. Even if it look crazy. I don't care if the Lord say right now, don't go back to work. Baby, I ain't going. Even though I'm gonna pay my bills. But the Lord has a plan. You just have to seek Him and follow. But so I just live my life now with my hands in the air, and I just let God guide my path and guide my direction and my actions and stuff like that, y'all. And that comes with lessons. That comes with conviction. He be whipping my tail. That comes with grace and mercy and love. It comes with favor. And it comes with many blessings along the way. And a life that is just rolling out so beautifully, y'all. I know that the Lord is about to do something amazing in my life. I can feel it. I can see things along the way. I have learned to enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey For so long I was looking for that moment, the big thing, the when my life changes and everything is so amazing, that I was not looking at the now, the lessons that I've learned, the things that I've grown from, the woman I'm evolving into. I think we tend to do that sometimes, but you have to find the beauty in the journey. Y'all, I am really living a life that the Lord wants me to live. I think I think sometimes I still can't believe it, because it's like, what? And it's all because I let go. And I really just let God come in and work in me and work on me in my life. And it all happened because of a decision that I will stop trying to do things my way and live in my purpose and my true authentic identity, and just walk out my destiny that the Lord has created me for. We hear people say all the time that your life is as simple as a decision. At first, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand what that meant. Even though at the same time I did, because it's like, are you living for God or are you living for the enemy? I understand that. But at the same time, how is it as simple as a decision? But that's why it's a mind thing. That's why the Lord says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Because when you don't understand, then you can't change anything. So yes, you can look at it as, am I living for the Lord, or if I'm living for the enemy, or am I straddling the fence or whatever? And you can be like, what you mean? I am living for the Lord. But are you doing right? Are your morals right? Are your values right? Are you living life and trying to live pure and holy? Or are you still out here doing the most? And I'm not saying that that means that you won't sin. Baby, we all sin. The Lord knows that. And that's why He has grace and mercy over our lives. So I'm not saying that you won't mess up. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, are you intentionally trying to live right? Are you waking up deciding that you will do the right thing, that you will continue to follow Christ, that you will walk away from the things that serves you no good? That's what I mean. That's the decision. The decision is, will you relinquish all control and allow the Lord to guide you in the way that He wants to? Because, baby, your ways is not His ways. And I promise you, the Lord can do way better things than you could ever imagine, that you could ever think to do for yourself. That's the decision, baby. So when they say, are you living for God or are you living for the enemy? That's what they mean. Are you doing that? Are you following Christ? Have you surrendered to His will, not your plans, His will for your life? That's the decision. Think about that. I love y'all, but you know God loves you some more.